Hey, what is going on, sports fans? Got a sports segment going on here. First time doing it, so leave a like at the bottom, and really appreciate that. Just want to talk about the Michigan State Ohio State game, a little bit of recruiting news, and a little Mack Brown news, and a creative segment I got at the end. First off, Mack Brown resigns at the University of Texas. Pretty surprising. Had a turbulent season, to say the least, and Michigan State, congratulations on winning the Big Ten championship. Definitely deserved due. They're the better team um, from a defensive standpoint. Didn't play very well for Ohio State, and I'm not really sure what we're doing on the secondary part. I've been saying it all season. It must be the schemes from Coach Fickle and Coach Everett Withers, co-defense coordinators, secondary coach Coach Coombs. Uh, Always looking in the backfield, playing zone defense for some reason, even though we weren't getting pressure on Michigan State. Uh, Things need to change on that side of the ball. 108th ranked pass defense in the country. Something's got to happen. Something's got to change because we're coming against Taj Boyd, definitely the best quarterback we played all season. So something needs to change. And they have an offensive weapon in Sammy Watkins, who is an All-American wide receiver. He's probably going to be leaving for NFL. Good, fast player. And going with some of the players that stood out, Joey Bosa, he's a monster. He recently won an honorable mention in the Big Ten, a defensive end. Really came along at the end of the season. Noah Spence really tapped into his potential, even though he's hit or miss in the Michigan State game. And Ryan Shazier was he's pretty good. He's a good one of the best Ohio State linebackers we've seen. Even though he didn't win the best linebacker in the Big Ten, Chris Borland from Wisconsin, who's from Ohio, Kettering, Ohio. Shazier had better stats overall, but Borland was one. He won the best linebacker award. Now to this, the game itself started off on the 3rd and 8. Grant with the pass interference and extended the drive. Shazier also with the pass interference. Braxton on the first drive couldn't get things done. First 3 and out on the first drive of the season. First time it's ever happened. And Braxton had issues getting the ball down the field, waiting too long to throw the ball, even though the wide receivers had created separation, beat the defensive back or whatever. Yeah. On the 3rd drive for Michigan State, the play that stood out was when Pittsburgh Brown got beat deep. 2 wide receivers split to the middle of the field to open up the outside wide receiver. He beats Pittsburgh Brown and just took a bad angle where the wide receiver was instead of where he's going to be. Just a bad angle. First time Ohio State was shut out in the first quarter all season. A big stat for me. Braxton extended the drive with that long scramble, kind of got things going a little bit, and led to a play action. It was a play action fake to Dontre Wilson, who was only in the offensive sets 3 plays. That can't happen. He's an offensive weapon. You get him in as much as you can. Dude burns turf. Like, he is fast. So, Philly with the touchdown. Going with Carlos Hyde. He was a monster all game. Only had 17 carries. Got to feed him more. He had 1,000 yards. First time Urban had a 1,000-yard running back. Braxton also had a good day rushing the ball, but was 8 of 21 passing. That can't happen. Needs to be better. Had too long of throws, I thought. Deep throws. The play action wasn't really working because we weren't running with Hyde very much in the middle of the field. The defensive standpoint for Michigan State, their weak spot was the defensive tackles. And we exploited that when we actually ran the ball with Hyde. We get 5, 7 yards, and then every once in a while Hyde would get like 13 yards. Jordan Hall had 1 carry for 13 yards. He only had 3 offensive plays as well. 1 play as a run back, and then 2 as a slot receiver, kind of like a Percy Harvin type deal. C.J. Barnett had an interception. He got beat twice on deep balls. Especially he had a bad one. When tight end got behind him, he was looking into the backfield. Tight end got behind him, made a good play, and it was tough to watch. On that 4th down, the 4th and 2 with Braxton, he did that sweep. Definitely needed to run the ball with Hyde. because on that play, the Michigan State linebackers had the edges sealed, and the middle linebacker was acting as a spy. So Hyde only had like one or two guys to beat because Lindsley already had his block sealed. Definitely could have got the first down with Hyde. And Hireman, he had an off day run blocking, and kind of has to change. Really good game overall. Didn't like the result. It was disheartening, disappointing, especially being 24-0. You just see like the people that dislike Ohio State. It's like, oh, you actually lost to a ranked team. It's like, whoa, we played ranked teams before. And kind of tired of quarterbacks having career days against us. Connor Cook, Michigan State quarterback. Devin Gardner passed for 441 yards on us. Wisconsin quarterback threw to Jared Aberdarius all day. He had over 200 receiving yards. Christian Hackenberg, Penn State. Nathan Steelhouse, Illinois. He extended the game by himself. Like, he kept Illinois in the game. Things got to change with that. Definitely, we have a lot more talent than what it shows. And I believe it's just not being coached right. Some coaches, defensive backs especially, with Roby and Barnett, and then when we lost Christian Bryant, that kind of hurt us. Definitely missed him. Pittsburgh Brown couldn't fill that void. His talent's been tapped, and that potential is gone. Recruiting news: Raekwon McMillan, 5-star linebacker of Georgia, being recruited by Clemson, Alabama, of course, and Ohio State. Urban makes in-home visit the day before McMillan makes his decision. He's the best inside linebacker in the country in the prep level. So really hope that we get him because he's a game changer. Dude's a good one. Fast dude, big guy. So I hope we get him. Now to this creative segment I got called Cheers and Jeers. And for the number 3 cheer goes out to the New York Yankee fans. Boy, Kirk Granderson came out signed with the Mets with a 4-year, $60 million deal, and he went as far as to say is that true New Yorkers are Mets fans. So you Yankee fans in New York are wrong, according to Granderson. Number 2, Mike Shanahan letting the cat out of the bag. Apparently RG3 doesn't like seeing his bad plays at film session in front of all the other players. And recently Shanahan went on to say that he thought about resigning in January because things between him and the owner, Snyder, and RG3 aren't so hot. Number 1 is the defense coaches for Ohio State. Didn't like the game plan, too much zone, not enough pressure. The execution standpoint has to get better. Hopefully Clemson will do something better. And on for our cheers. Number 3 goes out to the Eagles ground crew who opted not to plow the field at Lincoln Financial that had all the snow. It was actually enjoyable to watch. 8 inches of snow on the field. Calvin Johnson had a lot of snow in his face, but it was kind of funny to see. There was no place to put the snow, so they couldn't plow it. Number 2 goes out to the football players that are playing bowl games this year. They received up to a $550 limit worth of gifts. Thought the Military Bowl had the best one, giving out PS4s. Your boys, the Orange Bowl that comes from Ohio State, will receive a watch and a gift suite. The gift suite's like a powered home theater chair, about a $400 bill. It has like 2 USB ports. It's a nice leather chair. It's like $400 value. And number 1 goes out to those college football fans this past weekend. If you watched Oklahoma State game in Bedlam, it was a great game. Came down the wire. The Belldozer came through with a clutch throw. The Missouri-Auburn game, offensive showcase, running the ball. Trey Mason's a monster. He was a Heisman finalist. He was actually being recruited by West Virginia, and then got the only SEC offer from Auburn. Took that offer and ran with it. And Michigan State and Ohio State game was a good one. Tough to watch, but it was a good game. I'm sure Jim Delaney's pretty happy, the commissioner for the Big Ten. So I appreciate you guys watching, and I hope to post some later. All right.